Ready. Play.
And then moving on to now the Challenger circuit and Canberra, where fresh off his next-gen finals victory, the Brazilian Joao Fonseca was able to get past Ethan Quinn, the qualifier, but still another young, exciting prospect in Ethan Quinn. 6-4, 6-4. The Canberra Challenger is, of course, seen as the premier challenger tournament before AO. It's the only one set in Australia this week, with the other two taking place in New Caledonia and over in Thailand. What did you make of Joao picking up this title and the manner of his performance today? And also, he's beaten Jake Fernie and a few other decent names this week as well.
What a monster. I mean, his floor has risen so much. He is really just on serve return. I think there's just so much that he can do right now, even when the game isn't firing on all cylinders. And it's kind of been so far. Like the last 10 matches, I can't really remember a poor performance or even like a poor stretch from him. He's been like absolutely spot on. And I mean, now I think today, even though people were, of course, looking out at whether he's going to win the final or not, and it's good for him that he took it in two. In fact, I think other than the first serve, Ethan had very little to trouble him with. The problem here, like not everybody was just thinking about Australia already, about whether he can qualify and make the main draw, because that's where we are right now. Like he looks like a guy who could win main draw matches in Australia, and now, of course, it's not going to be super easy. This is a very competitive setting. He knows it already too, having played Wimbledon and having played Roland Garros. Of course, a very tight loss to Alejandro Morocanias at Wimbledon and another very tight loss to Elliot Spizzirri at the US Open in the final round. But, I mean, he just looks like he took a massive leap, especially between that Lyon appearance in mid-November to the next-gen finals. Like that month, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was eating, what he was training, but that was a month where Fonseca's serve, especially, I think, got really much more, heavy. And also, again, the way that he was returning today against Ethan or against Jake. Like this is something that you can't really teach. And this is something that very often decides who is that sort of like an elite prospect or just a guy who's going to be, on tour, but not really pushing to the top ranks. And I mean, it will be a massive, massive disappointment for the tennis world right now if Fonseca doesn't qualify for the Australian Open. It is what it is. Like everybody wants to see him there because it seems like that's going to be one of these players that I mentioned earlier, like Opelka, who you just don't want to draw in the opening round. You're not going to think, okay, I mean, whoever I get, I'm probably going to be fine, or like, I can handle it. You definitely don't want to see someone who's like on fire like this. And obviously, he also makes a pretty big ranking leap right now to like 113, I think. So, this was just a spotless week. In fact, it would be very hard to answer the question of who was more dominant this week, he in Canberra or Aslan Karatsev in Dontaburi.
I mean, as you say, this week his ranking is 145. Next week he goes up to 113, I think you said there. Unfortunately for him, the qualifying rank or seedings will be taken from this week, not next week, because I think we're going to get the qualifying draw, I suspect, actually tomorrow at some stage, if I'm correct, Damien. So he's going to be unseeded in the qualifying, given the fact he's got 145 in the world ranking.
Yeah, but do you think that matters? Like who?
I'm just saying in terms of there's going to be two seeded players in that draw who are going to see in their little 16th section. They're going to see Joao Fonseca, and then they're going to go, oh, damn, there goes my chances of qualifying for the AO. Or do you think that they could still stand a chance?
I mean, obviously, people will stand a chance. As I said, 10 great matches in a row. He's going to have a stinker somewhere. But just the way that he's playing right now, you kind of think that, well, even if he has it, the floor is high enough that he might be able to push through it. And that's another like super important ability, obviously, in the tennis career, to be able to win while you're not playing your best. I mean, there are some exciting players in the seeded range, but just like, theoretically thinking about it right now, you probably know that whenever an Australian Open qualifying draw comes around, or Grand Slam qualifying draw, I wanted to say, comes around, I'm doing like these like Twitter predictions or whatever. A lot of people are chiming in too. Personally, right now, I can't really imagine a section where I wouldn't pick Fonseca. I'm not saying he's guaranteed to qualify, but he's going to be the favorite in his section, I think, regardless of who lands there. Some of the top seeds, like, I don't know, Kepfer, Bellucci, Fucsovics, they didn't restart the season all that well. He's already beaten some of the other guys too. So maybe there's going to be a rematch. I think that's going to be actually one of the most exciting ones if we get that sort of section where we could get a rematch between him and Tien again.
So, and it's a question John wants us to ponder. How far do you think he'll go with the Australian Open?
I mean, assuming he'll qualify, I don't really know what I would be able to say, given we don't have a draw.
Are you confident that he's going to qualify?
I think he's going to be the favorite to qualify, regardless of the draw, really. It's 3 more matches that he has to play at a very high level. Is he going to be too tired? Probably not. This week wasn't too draining. So, I think he's going to be like a 50% favorite to qualify at least against pretty much any section he can get. And then after that, to me, he's kind of in that maybe Thiago Seyboth spot ahead of the 2023 Roland Garros when basically he beats Medvedev. I'm not saying Joao would beat Medvedev or like even any top 10 player. Of course, the best of 5 format, even though he played in it at the Next Gen Finals, the best of 5 format in the regular sets is a little different. And I think there might be some sort of like a period where he has to also like apply his game better in that. However, he gets like a random player from the middle of the draw. He probably beats them. Of course, as an unseeded player, you are guaranteed in the main draw of Australia to get a seeded player in the first 2 rounds. But if he gets someone completely random, like we mentioned, Shevchenko kind of becoming a middle of the road player the last 2 years, right? In terms of the ATP Tour. Fonseca, Shevchenko right now, Fonseca would be a big favorite. So, that's kind of my expectation. If he gets a pretty decent draw, I think he is capable of winning a match or 2. He's also, maybe even Menchik is a better example. Menchik last year, he made the final in Canberra. Then he qualified despite getting Brandon Nakashima in the opening round in Australia. He won against Shapovalov in straight sets in the opening round. Of course, Dennis was just coming back, but still. And then if it wasn't for like physical issues, he would have beaten Hurkacz in the second round, I think. So that's kind of where Fonseca is right now. Like you can see what Menchik did last year. I think it's pretty clear that Fonseca might be at an even stronger level. And then maybe it also comes to something like this, just going 5 sets with someone strong in Australia and then losing because he's not quite ready for that format yet. But that's kind of my expectation. Do Menchik from last year, and Menchik had it really hard because he got Nakashima in the opening round, who was like so in form as well coming into Australian Open qualies.
For me, like you say, a nice-ish first round would be pretty neat, and then I'd like him to play a big name in that second round, and then we could really have maybe even on a big court. Those two players, whoever they may be, duking it out just to really see Fonseca's level against maybe an established top name, maybe even in the top 10, certainly top 20, would be, in my opinion, at least something pretty neat.
It's the equivalent of Hurkacz Menchik last year, like literally that. That's what I want to see. Him, Fonseca qualifying, getting a winnable first round draw, and then just throw him in against a huge name and see what comes out of it.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.